My friend, I've been thinking a lot about how people chase success, how we talk about goals, dreams, hustle, and grind, like it's some distant mountain we've got to climb. But let me tell you something I've learned in my years, not just from success, but from failure too. The mountain isn't climbed in one leap, it's climbed one steady step at a time. That's what this whole thing is about, breaking it down. You don't have to move mountains today. You just have to move a pebble. Because here's the truth. The secret to momentum isn't motion. It's starting. That's it. You can't win the race if you're still tying your shoes. When you look at a big task, that project, that new chapter in your life, it can feel heavy, overwhelming, like standing at the bottom of a skyscraper, looking up at all the floors you haven't climbed yet. But I'm here to tell you something simple. Stop looking up. Look forward. Take the first step, even if it's just one. Don't try to finish the book. Just write the first sentence. Don't try to overhaul your life. Just start with today's habits. Because momentum is built, not found. You ever try pushing a car that's stuck? The first push feels impossible. But once it's rolling, even a light touch keeps it going. That's your life right there. You build momentum by doing small things that matter. Now, I know people want the big solution, the grand answer. But success is not dramatic. It's quiet. It's built in those tiny moments when no one's watching. Those early mornings, those minutes you could have wasted but didn't. Those are the bricks that build your house of discipline. Let me put it this way. Every big win is just a series of small victories stacked on top of each other. So here's the first principle. Break it down. Whatever your mountain is, take that thing and slice it into small, manageable pieces. 10 minutes of effort. 15 minutes of focus. You can't eat an elephant in one bite, right? So stop trying. Take one forkful at a time. Before you know it, you'll look up and realize you've come a long way. Now, once you've started, once you've pushed that car into motion, the next thing you've got to do is protect your focus. And that's where time becomes your best friend, or your biggest enemy. See, too many of us treat time like we've got an endless supply. We say, I'll do it later. I'll start next week. But every later costs you momentum. Every next week is another step backward. You've got to learn to honor your time the way you'd honor your paycheck, because it's more valuable than money. You can earn back dollars, but you can't earn back minutes. That's why I love the Pomodoro technique. Fancy name, simple idea. Work for 25 minutes. Take a 5-minute break. That's it. 25 minutes of deep, uninterrupted focus. No phone, no distraction, just you and the task. You'd be amazed at what you can accomplish in 25 minutes of real presence. Do that 4 times and you've worked for nearly 2 hours with energy to spare. Now pair that with time blocking. That means you schedule your focus. You don't just say, I'll work when I feel like it, number. You tell yourself, from 9 to 10, I'm doing this. From 10:15 to 11, I'm doing that. You give every hour a purpose, every block a mission. You'd be shocked how much freedom that gives you, because structure doesn't confine you, it frees you. Michelangelo once said, "The greater danger for most of us lies not in setting our aim too high and falling short, but in setting it too low and achieving our mark." That's wisdom right there. Aim high, but build your aim with structure. Dreams without systems become fantasies. But systems, habits, time blocks, structure, those turn dreams into reality. Now, I know life gets messy. Distractions creep in. Your phone buzzes, emails pile up, and your mind starts wandering. That's when you've got to pause and reframe your thoughts. Because productivity isn't just about what you do, it's about how you think while you do it. So when that little voice starts whispering, you're not doing enough, you're falling behind, or you'll never get there, I want you to stop, take a breath, and flip the script. Instead of focusing on how far you still have to go, look at how far you've already come. Progress, not perfection. That's the game. Because perfection is a moving target. You'll never hit it. You'll spend your whole life chasing an illusion. But progress? Progress is real. Progress is measurable. Progress is the reason you can go to bed at night feeling proud, even if the mountain's not climbed yet. And let me tell you something personal. I've met a lot of successful people in film, in business, in life. And the one thing they all have in common, they stopped waiting for perfect. They started when they were scared, tired, uncertain. They moved anyway. Because progress is built on motion, not motivation. Sometimes you've got to start before you feel ready. Sometimes you've got to build belief by acting first. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes because of it. You take one small step, and the next one feels easier. That's how self-belief grows, step by step, moment by moment. Let me tell you, I've been on sets where we had every reason to call it a day. Bad weather, long hours, nothing working the way it should. But you push through. You focus on what you can control. The next line, the next shot, the next take. That's all you can ever control anyway. The next thing. When you make peace with that, when you stop trying to control everything at once, life starts to feel a lot lighter. Now, let's talk about something powerful, something most people underestimate. Routine. See, consistency beats intensity every single time. Anybody can be motivated for a day. Anybody can wake up and feel inspired for an hour. But the great ones, they show up every day, especially when they don't feel like it. Because discipline is the bridge between your goals and your results. That's why your daily routine matters. Not because it's glamorous, but because it's grounding. When you wake up at a set time, when you plan your day, when you stick to your blocks, you're training your mind that you're in control. You're not waiting for inspiration. You're creating it. And that's the difference between people who wish and people who win. Winners don't depend on mood. They depend on method. Now, before we get deeper, I want you to really hear this. Building discipline isn't about being harsh on yourself. It's about building trust with yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and you follow through, you're casting a vote for the kind of person you want to be. You're teaching your mind that your word means something. That's what accountability really is. It's self-trust. Sure, you can get a friend, a coach, a mentor, someone to check in with you. And that helps a lot. But at the end of the day, accountability starts when you stop breaking promises to yourself. And listen. When you start keeping those promises, something shifts inside you. You stand taller. You speak with more conviction. You start walking into rooms like you belong there because you've earned your own respect. My friend, discipline and structure will take you far, but meaning, that's what takes you all the way. Because at some point, you've got to stop asking, what do I want to do? And start asking, why does it matter? When your actions connect to something deeper, something that aligns with who you are, suddenly it's not just work anymore. It's purpose ... And purpose is fuel. You don't burn out when your work has meaning, you burn brighter. Now, listen closely. Goals without values are like a compass without a north. You might move fast, but you won't know where you're going. So ask yourself, what do I really care about? What kind of impact do I want to make? Who do I want to become through this process? Because success isn't something you chase. It's something you attract by becoming the kind of person who deserves it. When your goals line up with your values, your effort feels natural. You stop forcing it and you start flowing with it. Let me share something with you. A story about a man named Marcus Leighton. Now, Marcus wasn't a celebrity. He wasn't born into money or privilege. He was an ordinary man, an accountant from Atlanta, 2 kids, a mortgage, and a head full of unfulfilled dreams. For years, Marcus wanted to start his own business, a financial coaching service to help families get out of debt. But every time he thought about it, he froze. He'd look at the paperwork, the permits, the website, the marketing, and the mountain looked too high. So he'd close his laptop and tell himself, maybe next year. One night, after another long day at work, Marcus came home to find his daughter, 10 years old, sitting at the kitchen table with a jar of coins. He asked her what she was doing, and she said, "I'm saving up to buy you more time. You're always working." Man, that broke him. That moment hit him like lightning. He realized he wasn't scared of failure. He was scared of starting. So that night, Marcus took out a piece of paper and wrote one sentence at the top. "If I can help one family breathe easier, it's worth it." That was his why. That was his purpose. And then he applied the same principles we're talking about right now. He broke it down, one step at a time. Day 1, he registered a simple business name. Day 2, he created a basic website. Day 3, he called one friend to offer free advice. That's it. Just a few minutes a day, no fireworks, no instant success. But he kept going. Week after week, small wins stacked up. Within 6 months, he had 5 paying clients. Within a year, he quit his job. 2 years later, he was teaching financial literacy in local schools. And that same jar of coins from his daughter? It's now framed on his office wall, labeled "The Day Everything Changed." Marcus didn't become a millionaire overnight, but he became something far more important: a man in motion. A man who stopped waiting for perfect and started building progress. That's what success really is. Not about having it all, but becoming all that you can. You see, Marcus didn't need to be extraordinary. He just needed to be consistent. And you can be too. You don't have to be gifted to grow. You just have to be grounded in your purpose. Now, let's talk about the mindset that carries people like Marcus forward. It's not motivation. Motivation fades. It's reframing. You see, your brain loves to tell stories. Stories about why you can't, why it's too late, why someone else is better. But those stories, they're not facts. They're just old habits in your head. And you have the power to rewrite them. When you say, "I failed," I want you to replace it with, "I learned." When you say, "I'm behind," try saying, "I'm building." And when you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," take a deep breath and tell yourself, "I'm getting better every day." You see, your words are your directions. The way you talk to yourself determines the way you move. If your inner voice is your enemy, how can you win the battle? So start talking to yourself like you'd talk to your best friend. That's not soft. That's strength. Self-compassion doesn't make you weak, it makes you resilient. As the philosopher Seneca once said, We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Most of your fear isn't from what's happening, it's from what you think might happen. So when you catch yourself drifting into that mental storm, bring yourself back to now. Now is where your power lives. Now is where progress begins. That's the art of reframing. You take the weight off your shoulders by shifting the story. You stop saying, I have to, and start saying, I get to. That little change flips the whole script. You don't have to work on your goals. You get to build a life you're proud of. You don't have to push through. You get to grow stronger than your excuses. Let's talk about focus again for a second. You've heard me mention time blocking, but let me take it deeper. Focus is a fragile thing in today's world. Distraction is the new addiction. Your phone, your feed, your endless notifications, they're designed to steal your attention bit by bit. You've got to learn to guard your focus like it's treasure, because it is. Your focus determines your future. When you sit down to work, don't just hope for concentration. Create it. Turn off notifications, close tabs, silence the noise. Make a sacred space for your best effort. And when you're done, step away. REST. Recharge? Because burnout doesn't come from doing too much. It comes from doing too little of what matters. You've got to work with your energy, not against it. That's why I tell people, plan your day around your natural rhythm. If you're sharp in the morning, protect that time. If your creativity peaks at night, use it. Align your schedule with your strengths, and suddenly the grind becomes a groove. Now, I want to share something that might surprise you. The most successful people I know don't chase motivation. They engineer it. They build systems that make success automatic. They set up habits that carry them forward when emotion runs out. Think of it like flying an airplane. Motivation is the takeoff. It gets you in the air. But discipline? Discipline is the autopilot that keeps you flying when the clouds roll in. And meaning, your why. That's your compass, guiding you through the turbulence. The Greek philosopher Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. That's not just philosophy, that's neuroscience. Your brain builds pathways based on repetition. You do something enough times, it stops being effort. It becomes identity. So if you want to change your life, don't chase results. Change your routines. Now, I'm not telling you this because it sounds good. I'm telling you because I've seen it, lived it, and watched others transform through it. Success isn't about genius. It's about rhythm. It's about doing small things with big consistency. Let me tell you, there's something powerful about waking up and knowing exactly what you're going to do. Not because someone told you, but because you've decided who you want to be. That's peace. That's purpose, ... That's power. And when you start combining these elements, small steps, structured time, self-compassion, and clear purpose, your life begins to change. You stop reacting and you start creating. You stop chasing success and you start embodying it. That's when doors open. That's when opportunities find you. Because the world has a funny way of moving for those who move with intention. Now I know. It's easy to listen to all this and think, yeah, but my life's different. My situation's harder. I get that. We all have our mountains. But here's what I want you to remember. The principle never changes. Big or small, rich or poor, young or old, the formula works the same. Start small. Stay consistent. Keep your focus. Align with your purpose. That's it. That's the blueprint. And the beautiful thing? You already have everything you need to start. You've got time, even if it's just a few minutes. You've got strength, even if it's buried under doubt. You've got purpose, even if you haven't named it yet. So start naming it. Start claiming it. The next 5 minutes could be the first 5 of a brand new story. Now listen, everything we've talked about, breaking it down, finding focus, building discipline, rewriting your story, it all leads to this moment, right here, right now. Because none of this means anything unless you decide to own your story. Not tomorrow, not when the stars align, now. See, the problem isn't that people don't know what to do. Most of the time, you already know what to do. You've read the books. You've listened to the podcasts. You've got the tools. The question isn't what to do. The question is, why will you do it consistently enough to become someone new? That's where most people stop. They stop right before the shift happens, right before the breakthrough. They let fear talk them out of their future. But I'll tell you something that'll change how you see fear forever. Fear isn't your enemy. It's your compass. If something scares you, it's probably pointing toward growth. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Yeah, it's walking toward it anyway. You can't think your way into confidence. You build confidence by keeping promises to yourself. Every time you act, even when it's uncomfortable, you teach your soul that you're someone who follows through. And that's when transformation begins. Now let's talk about goals. You've got to make them yours. Not what your parents wanted, not what society says you should chase, not what looks good on Instagram. No, yours. Because when your goals come from your heart, discipline becomes devotion. You don't have to force it. You feel it. Set goals that mean something. Goals that make you stretch. A goal that doesn't scare you a little isn't a goal, it's a checklist. But make it real. Make it tied to your values, because values are what give your goals their backbone. Let's say your value is family. Then build a goal around time freedom. If your value is creativity, build a goal around expression. If your value is service, build a goal around impact. When your goals align with who you are, every obstacle becomes part of the path. And when you stumble, because you will, your why will catch you, lift you, and remind you why you started. You know, people talk about purpose like it's this big mystical thing, like you've got to go to the mountaintop to find it. But your purpose is right there in front of you, hidden in the things that move you, in the moments that break your heart, in the problems you can't stop thinking about solving. That's where purpose lives, in the intersection between your pain and your potential. As the great Viktor Frankl once said, those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. That's truth, pure and simple. Your why gives meaning to the grind. It gives fire to the struggle. Without it, even easy things feel heavy. With it, even heavy things feel possible. So when the days get hard, and they will, has come back to your why. Come back to the core reasons that lights you up. It doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be yours. Now let's take it even deeper. You've got to understand, success isn't a destination, it's a direction. There's no finish line. There's only growth. You don't arrive, you evolve. People think the goal is to make it. But I'll tell you, the goal is to keep becoming. Every day you're either getting closer to your best self, or you're getting comfortable where you are. And comfort is the silent killer of dreams. Growth doesn't live in comfort. It lives in the stretch, in the challenge, in the times you're not sure you can do it, but you try. anyway, that's where your strength is born. That's where your faith gets tested and proven. You see, success isn't just about achievement, it's about alignment. When what you think, what you say, and what you do are all pulling in the same direction, that's power. That's peace. That's purpose. And that's when you stop living from pressure and start living from presence. Now, I want to talk to you about something we forget too easily in this fast world. Gratitude. Gratitude isn't just saying thank you when things go right. It's appreciating your progress even when it's slow. Because gratitude doesn't just make you happier, it makes you stronger. It reminds you of what's already working, and that gives you energy to keep going. Try this. Before you sleep tonight, think of 3 things you did right today. Not perfect, just right. Maybe you took a walk instead of scrolling. Maybe you made one phone call you'd been avoiding. Maybe you just got out of bed when it felt hard. That's progress. And progress deserves recognition. Gratitude and progress are twin engines. One fuels your spirit, the other fuels your growth. Together, they make you unstoppable. Now, before we close this out, I want you to hear this from me, and hear it deep. You have everything it takes. You don't need someone to give you permission to start. You don't need the perfect plan, the perfect timing, or the perfect mindset. All you need is a decision. One real grounded decision that says, I'm not waiting anymore, because life doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards motion. Faith without action is just potential energy. But when you move, when you take that first small step, that potential turns into power. Let me leave you with something I once heard a wise man say. Don't be afraid to start small. Be afraid to stay the same. Now, I don't know who first said it, but I've lived it. And I'll tell you, it's the truth. I want you to take this energy, this message, and carry it with you. Every morning when you wake up, remember this. You have a choice to repeat yesterday or to rewrite it. To react to life or to design it. You are the author. You hold the pen. And the story isn't finished. Not by a long shot. So break your mountain into pebbles. Block your time. Protect your focus. Be kind to yourself. Stay disciplined. And never, never forget why you started. Because your why is the fire. Your habits are the wood. And your consistency, that's the oxygen that keeps it burning. You keep that fire alive long enough, and I promise you, the world will feel the warmth. People will see it. They'll feel it. Because purpose is contagious. So go on. Take that first step. Start small, stay steady, stay humble, and stay hungry. You're closer than you think. And the best part? You've only just begun. As the poet Ralph Waldo Emerson said, the only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. So decide, right here, right now, who you're going to be, and then become it.